Hi guys, I'm ExactChaos and welcome to a brand new series of Workers and Resources Soviet Republic. It's been about 9 months or so since I played, and I'm really excited to see all the new stuff. And one of the things that I'm most excited about is this new realistic mode that's been brought in there. We've been trying the Cosmonaut Challenge in the previous series, and obviously there's all kinds of workarounds in terms of getting that done, but the new realistic mode is definitely something that I'm really keen on getting into. There's been a few other updates as well. Most recently, the Metro update has come in. There's also water and the water and sewage treatment pieces in terms of updates. Crime and Justice, I haven't played with that. That's probably the oldest one since I've last played. But yeah, so there's a lot of new stuff for us to get into. As you can see, we're on version 0.8.8.8. It's in the experimental branch. And what we're going to do for the first time, I'm going to actually play a pre-built map. So if we go to new game, I'm going to play this Tiger special edition map with added improved customs. And we're going to play it on... and that's from a Steam Workshop. So please go and have a look at that if you're interested in playing the same map instead of doing the random generated that we did last time. And if we select the map, the way we're going to play it is effectively the Cosmonaut overall difficulty. So as you can see, hard money, realistic mode enabled, which means we cannot build buildings or infrastructure or anything with money. We can't auto build it. You have to build it yourself and actually import stuff directly from the border and things like that. We've got very unsatisfied citizens. We're going to do all of our own energy management. We're definitely doing water management. We're definitely doing seasons. We're doing frequent building fires. We're doing global events. Pollution is enabled. Complex education simulation, crime and justice, of course, something we want to have a look at. Oh, the new traffic simulation stuff is in there as well. I'm very keen on working with that a little bit. We had lots of traffic issues in the previous playthrough, and I think this will make a massive difference. We need to research all of the newer technologies that we want to use. And the only thing that I'm actually going to change is I'm not going to play with the night and day cycles. It's just too difficult to play with that. There's so many dark times when you can't see anything. So I'd rather go for always day. It's also better for the videos as well. So you guys can see we'll start in 1960. Vehicles availability will be locked as per the starting year. So that's basically the only change we're going to make to the Cosmonaut settings, is that we're going to make sure that it's going to be always day. Other than that, it's absolutely pure Cosmonaut. So let's get into it. Okay, so here we are in the lovely Tiger map, and we will do the first kind of episode is just going to be a little bit of planning. It's going to take us an enormous amount of time to properly plan for this, and it's going to be a slow series, guys. It's going to take ages. So what the map looks like, and as you can see, lots of interesting things for us to work with. I do love the big rivers. I do love the big mountains, and I think that will bring a whole new challenge to the gameplay. In the procedurally generated maps, you do find hills and things like that, but it's fairly monotonous all through the entire area. The other thing is there's resources pretty much everywhere. Not kind of very rich resources, but there's resources pretty much everywhere. This map is going to be offer us a whole different playing experience where we'll have to deal with the actual terrain a lot better. But also we've got these rivers that we can use for exports and water thoroughfare and things like that. So let's have a quick look at where our various resources are. So we've got coal scattered throughout the map, but as you would see, typically in the hilly parts of the map, around this mountainous area over here, there's a little bit over here, which I think is kind of where we're going to head off to start with, just so we start off a little easier in the flat stuff. Iron is going to be very difficult to come by. As you can see, we're going to have to head into the mountains for the iron. There's a few smatterings of oil, again making this area quite interesting as a starting point. Now, this area would be interesting too, but I think starting in the hills will be quite a challenge. Then uranium is almost non-existent, so we'll have a hard time getting uranium if we wanted to mine it ourselves. And similarly with bauxite, we're going to have lots of trouble. Well, I think that wouldn't be too hard, and this one wouldn't be too hard to get to if we needed to. But yeah, not the friendliest environment. So the two places that I'm thinking we could probably start off with, where we'll have access to oil and coal fairly early on, is this area here and that area there. Actually over here too, but it looks so tiny, this area. So let's quickly have a look at this area on this side. And you can see the map has got enormous kind of border crossing facilities and so on. I'm not sure we're necessarily going to use all of that, but it looks okay. I don't mind it. So yes, we've got some coal in these areas over here. And then I believe hang on. I believe our oil fields are over here, right in front of us. Yeah, this is over here. So the only thing that I don't like about this location is that it's pretty far away from the natural water. I mean, this could be a natural harbor over here, but it's not going to be easy. And then we'll only be able to really trade with the NATO states in a reasonable manner. It will be able to go off this way, but yeah, I'm not sure. I think I wouldn't mind building some proper mining town cities in these hills. I think this entire section is coal, isn't it? Yeah, this entire run up here is coal. Anyway, I wouldn't mind doing that. And certainly if we're coming for the iron, we'll have to make our way over here somewhere to come and get that. So a big industrial city in this area might be just what we need. But I don't think that's going to be our starting location. To be honest, I think down here is going to be starting location. If we come down all the way this side, here we have another large customs house. We've got access to rail. We've got access to power straight away. And then as you will see, over here in the distance, looking towards it, we've got coal probably over here. Not a very quality source, though, probably over there on those hills there. And we've got access to oil, also not a very quality source, right over here, I think. Let's just see. Yeah, right in this area. So that's kind of our starting point. I think we can, look here, we'll be able to have some access to gravel. So I think we could start a little bit of a construction industry right over here, a little starter town with everything being imported to this area. And then from there, we'll go and start our city building, our proper cities, industrial cities. Now, we could head off this way and start next to the water over here, but I think that's putting us in the wrong kind of directions. I'd rather then potentially expand us into this area where we'll also should be able to farm quite nicely in some of these areas. I'm thinking that we're going to head into this area to make our way here. So we'll kind of try and get to the center of the map for our main city, but we're not going to do massive cities. We're going to do fairly small cities, but I think this little island cluster of islands would make for quite a nice little city / touristy town thing. So definitely an interesting one for us to head towards. Obviously not immediately, but yeah, this would be quite interesting. And then from here, of course, we can then head on out into this area and make our way up towards the industrial area. But yeah, obviously that'll take many episodes to get there. It'll take a long time. Let's just have another quick look here. So coal, we've got a fair bit of coal that we can work with. We really don't have iron sources available over here, so iron is definitely something we're going to be importing for quite a while. Oil we have available, so we can transition towards our own fuel, potentially even use oil as a power source. Should be able to do that fairly quickly and early on. Uranium is a later game, and bauxite's a later game thing that I'm not even going to be worried about. We'll just fly over there with helicopters or something when we get to that area. You can see that there's a little bit of interesting pieces over here. We can do a bit of farming in this area as well. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to close down the map, the mini map over here. Well, I'll keep it over here so you can still see it. Now, what we're going to do, the game is paused, by the way. But what we're going to do is I'm going to just grab these kind of basic footpaths. And what I'll do is I'm going to kind of earmark a few areas for us. So I think we're going to have our construction industry in this kind of area over here. So we'll have access to gravel, and then from there we'll work our way into some stuff that we should be able to get. We should be able to get to the water pretty early on. could even do a bit of terraforming here to see if there's anything of interest that we can make use here. Otherwise, just small bridges and stuff would work quite well. This could be a nice big cargo harbor, and if we do bring in trains and stuff into this area through this major construction area, this could be a pretty reasonable industrial area. However, there's not access to any resources right there. Now, what I was thinking in terms of starter town probably around here, so people could work in industries in here. It'll be a pretty small little town. We'll probably have some heating and stuff fairly close by here, but that's kind of the idea. Maybe some construction yards up and down this section over here, or potentially a little further away, but we would like to keep it pretty close to the town. Now, what I'm going to do is let's start off by having a bit of a look at what our road network will look like. Now, from this area, we'll definitely build a highway network, and all of our towns will not the highway won't kind of pass through the town. It'll be kind of adjacent. It'll be kind of bypass style networks. And what I thought we'd do is we'll kink it out this way straight away. And okay, let's start it off like this. Just want to make sure that we start it off right. So let's turn it off that way. And then I would like to, yes, do this. And I would like to, yes, do that. So that's what I'm kind of trying to do here. And we're probably going to use all of these. So one thing that I did have in mind here, though, is let's build a bit of a roundabout so that we can make use of all of these access points. That's kind of the plan for me here. The way I generally do it is by starting just off to the edges of each of them, something like that. We'll do not too big of a roundabout, so something like that. Similarly, we'll do a little something like this, and we'll end it off like that. And then from here, we'll start our actual motorway. So we'll get our turns back in there. Yeah, so something straight like that, and then we'll straighten it up a little bit. I like doing a path in the middle, and then what we'll do is we'll tie that one in there. That should be good. And then what we'll do is we'll delete that one in the end, and that's going to be our motorway. But in any case, these guys should be able to be all accessible. So there we go. So now you can actually access all of them. We could provide ourselves a little bit of a road up here towards our construction industry on this side. Yeah, that's pretty good. We'll see if we need a road towards this side, but ultimately, obviously, we're going to have to run our rail connections out here and also our power connections out here. So probably getting the road out of the way is about right. Now, so of interest would be we need to head off that way. So let's immediately start making that turn. Fairly comfortable little turn out into that general direction. There we go. We'll get our extra road in there, and then we'll run the third why? Oh, interesting. That's interesting. Didn't expect to have issues straight away. Let's just switch on our. Oh! Hang on, guys, hang on. That's okay. This is okay, but I'm definitely going to redo that, and we're going to make a little bit of room here. So we'll run it down that hill there. That's actually a very good spot for that roundabout. Means we'll be able to get up the hill and down the hill, and we won't have any issues with it right there. But this area, of course, is a little bit tight. So what we'll do is I'm just going to trim these roads back because I didn't. And always when you're planning your infrastructure, make sure to switch on the height profile, so you don't have this issue, because you really shouldn't be trying to do that. I mean, look at what we've done there now. So let's trim this thing back a little bit. We'll have to move it in a little. So let's just get our road back here, and that's going to be our So we'll run it straight a little while longer, and then we'll head it off into that direction. There we go. Get me the second one, the middle one there. We'll do that. And we'll get the third one out there. Now, don't want to worry too much about that. So this is what we'll do. Now, in terms of access to it, we generally would like maybe an access point over here and an access point over here. So we've got a little bit of an internal loop. So that's something of interest. So let's hang on. Let's pop out of here and just have a look at where we want to head towards the oil. Oil is up there. So I think what we'll do is we'll run the path fairly straight into this general direction here. And then we probably will go up the hill into that on that side. So let's see about snapping some stuff. You're not snapping? That's interesting. Okay, well let's clean this out just a tad. Look, I won't be building all of these things straight away. Yeah, so let's snap it up through there and all the way up there, and similarly we run that one up there. Okay, now what I'll do is now I'll start removing this middle one a little bit up to here and up to there. So this is going to give us and I'll almost up to the end, because we won't necessarily be using it, and we can always put it back if we need to. So something like that's kind of what we're going to do. So this would have, it's a little unfortunate, but anyway, the trees will, I think, come back into this area. It's going to be quite an interesting little road. Excellent, that looks really quite interesting. This area here, I think that looks really good. I think we just about made the right move there, even though that was a bit of an interesting one. Now, coming out here, I'm thinking we would like to turn in a little bit like this, and then run up here. Ooh, hang on. Before we do that, we won't necessarily be able to easily come down here. So in order to make sure we've got something that works, what did I do here? Let's just get rid of that. That doesn't look quite right to me. Now let's find ourselves a little path that does a little something like that. Okay, and then what we'll do is we'll kind of just run it along the border there. We'll trim this one back a little bit and we'll tie it in. So let's do about that. So we straighten it up from the roundabout, and then we tie it in over there. So that's kind of the idea. We could still obviously provide access off to this side, but that gives us access to that area there. Now, what I was thinking is we need at least 2 access points here, and we'll probably then continue to do access to that other side there, probably around through the hill here. Can we get some? Oh yeah, we can quite comfortably get something through the hill there, so that's going to be okay. So I think the first one that I'm going to do is do our access point over here. And we'll straighten it and run it up there. So that's the town access point this side. And I'm thinking another town access point probably over here. Straighten it up a little bit. And then I'm quite comfortable to run it with a little bit of a kink through there. And we'll see. We can't necessarily go straight down there, but that'll be okay. So this is kind of our town site, and we'll see about getting a bit of a main road in the middle there, a main street in the middle, and we'll work on it from there. Okay, let me remove these little pathways that I've kind of put in there to kind of plan out the area. And what we'd rather do is start looking at. Okay, so this is the construction area. I'll remove that one. We've got that other block there. So this thing might be able to, I think this road here, we'll just grab that and get it to kind of go to the outside, so we don't mess with the hill too much, and then we'll go down there. So that's the one access point around this little hill. That looks really nice actually. And then what we'll have on this side is we'll have to see about maybe transitioning something downhill. Oh yeah, something like that could work quite well. That's not a bad little downhill section there, and we'll straighten it up as we get down. So that's a pretty good little section there, and that will provide us access. So we've got multiple access points. They'll be able to have direct access to this area. These will have access to the town. Now, let's start thinking about what our town would look like. Let's go with one fairly big road down the middle here. What is that? What is that length? Do we know lengths? Okay, hang on. We certainly have a measuring tool. So let's where is that measuring tool though? Here it is. Measuring tool. So if we have a look, what is this looking like for us? That's about 500 meters, which is pretty good. It means that we will have access to everything in here from a walkability point of view, though there's a lot that needs to be built, so we'll have to keep an eye out for that. Let's just clear that, please. So there's a lot of stuff there. Okay, so that's pretty good for us. We'll have to see, maybe we'll have a heating or something out here. Yeah, I don't know, initial construction stuff up here maybe. And this should provide a little bit of a barrier, I think. I'm not sure, but that at least looks a little bit more natural that way. Now I'll go back in here and let's just start by planning out some stuff. So I'm going to start small. The idea really is going to be to start small. So I don't want I want a fair bit of distance from the main road intersection, because, and actually let's plan that out. I want to provide. Actually, this area might be quite difficult. We might be able to fit a roundabout in here. Will we be able to grade separate here? Might be able to grade separate on this side, though I don't know if we. It'll depend on how difficult it's going to be, how busy it's going to get. So one thing that I do want to do is I just want to make sure that we are providing reasonable areas for grade separating. So that's pretty sizable actually. So if we do something like this and something like that and something like that, I'm not connecting it to the road because that makes it way too difficult to build it. That gives us a room for a grade separation if we wanted to. So if we leave that area open, that is enough room for a grade separation. I might do a very similar thing over here, but these two actually, they're a little bit close for a grade separation, and this area might not work, but I will leave a little bit of space here. Yeah, this area, I might end up closing this one, to be honest. We might build a big grade separation here, end up closing this one and linking that back in there. But anyway, I'm leaving a little bit of room there for an appropriate grade separation. This one, there's no point in grade separating this because we need, these have to be two-way roads, all of them, so we can use all of that for queuing space if we need to. I am playing, in terms of gameplay mods, the only mod that I've got activated here is the one that allows constant throughput through this area. Now, let's, game is still paused while we're doing our 5-year plan. That's a pretty communist thing to do, is build a 5-year plan or develop a 5-year plan. So that's something that we will be doing here. So what I'm keen on doing is potentially starting off a little section like this. We'll curve that in. The interesting one is let's do this, and what we can also do is probably do a bit of a straight line that way. Alternatively, it would be quite interesting for us to just a little bit more interesting little layout if we do something like this and have our main road run like so, and then we can also still add a road here on that kind of line and kind of curve it in. Though I don't know if I like that much. Well, anyway, it's a little bit interesting, this one. So if we just bring it in here and we decide to make a little roundabout here instead. So let's do that, and what I'll do is I'll just trim this back. There, and there. I'm not going to do any time lapses for the time being with all the planning work that we're doing. Yeah, so just a roundabout like this, to be honest. We'll do up to about there. Then I'll go ahead and trim back just that little section, and we should be able to... Oh, come on. Actually, if I trim back the entire thing all the way over there, and I bring that back, there we go. So that will kind of work as a roundabout. Then this guy can tie in here, this guy can tie in there, and I'll trim that one back a little bit because we're slightly off center. So let's actually go all the way back and we'll tie it in there. So we'll edit up that way and we'll just tie it in there straight away. So that looks quite good. Then we can now start doing some other roads and things. And certainly we could run a little road on the side of the hill here. That kind of does a little something like this. Ties in there. Bring it straight down there for a little bit of a straight section. I don't even mind running a central road like that. We may even do a little something along the lines of this. I'm hoping this is big enough to accommodate most of our items. So if we do something like that. Yeah, so there we go. That's kind of our starter town layout, I think. That gives us multiple access points in here. Something that we can pave straight away. It's fairly flat and simple. So now, what are the services that we need to place in here as a very starting point? And this is absolutely critical that we get this right. I'll have a quick look. If we look at something like schools, I'm going to use fairly small buildings, but if we look at something like schools, if we look, not a big school, but if we look something like this school, for instance, yeah, that could squeeze in here quite comfortably. So that's a reasonable size, okay. But what we want to look for first probably is get a bit of a bus stop going. Now we do have 3 bus stops, and we'll probably start off with the 3 bus stop. But I will probably just add a little one. So we will have a number of passengers here, but maybe something like that bus stop is not a bad idea. And I think a good spot for the bus stop would be, if we can flip things around a little bit, would be something like this. We'll just move it a little bit away. So, and of course, we will need. So it's going to be an in and out style setup. What other bus stops do we have here? Just the one. It's going to do exactly the same thing, though. Do we have any other bus stops that's of interest here? Train platforms, train bus stop. Yeah, that's a little weird, though. I don't even know what this thing looks like, to be honest. But I'm not gonna build that one. Let's just have a quick look. No train stations and platforms and things. I think I'm just going to go with the kind of stock standard one is this one, all right? Which I think could work in here. How many passengers can this take? 200 passengers. I'd rather we go slightly bigger. This one has room for 2 vehicles. That one has room for 2 vehicles, though. I'd rather go a little bit bigger, so we've got a little bit more to go on. And I'll do it... If we do it on this side, though, we could make use of that roundabout to make sure everybody can get easy access to it. I kind of like the idea of having it here. One of the things that I see many people do when they play this game is they don't properly use the space they have available. There's really a lot of space in this game, and you can use it. It's not a big deal if you end up using it, because now we should be able to get some pathways and things linked to it. So that's our first town there. Now what we'll do is we need things like hospitals and the like. So let's grab ourselves a small hospital. We need schools and things like that. So emergencies first. So we'll bear in mind the cost of steel is enormous. So let's just make sure that we don't spend too much steel on these things. So a pretty small 12 tons, 4 tons, 10 tons. Yeah, I'm quite comfortable with maybe that 4-ton variety there. 3 tons of steel for this one. Volunteer fire station. No, I think that 4-ton variety. I like Rob's 74's stuff he does a really good job at making some really nice nice mods, really. So if we have that center of town, it's not super critical that be center of town. I'm going to flip it on its edge a little bit, and we're going to place it back there so it doesn't actually access that primary road. And we'll have a little. We could have it like this and just move it back a little bit more. Yeah, I think maybe that's okay. That's okay. But let's start off by maybe not connecting it, because we want to. Well, we will have to connect it. It'll have to be some of the very first things we connect. So we'll get a fire station over there. That should cover this area quite nicely, and it's on the way down here. So hopefully that can help access that area a little bit easier. Now, one of the next things we would need to do is get a hospital. Now, I'm not going to go crazy size hospital here. A large clinic, maybe. So that's 16 tons of steel. That's 11 tons of steel. 14 for a hospital over here. Actually, that might be one that I might be interested in. 13 for a big clinic. With 14 ton. Oh, 4. That's a small clinic. I think this one, compared to this one here, 25. I actually like this idea. So we'll grab ourselves this hospital, and we'll have it pretty central, because people will actually have to walk to the hospital. So if I'm going to flip it, so something like that, I think is a good spot for a hospital right there. We'll do that, and we need a school and a few things, and then probably have residential buildings all the way around here. I don't even mind having it all the way back here. This is going to be our central area. Now, the next piece that we do need to do before we maybe get into the schools and stuff is let's just get the super critical component, which is the shopping center. Let's see, not a restaurant, please. I would like a smallish kind of shopping center that does everything, but maybe not crazy sizable. In terms of the steel, that's 12 tons of steel. That's really not bad. What are these? 6. Oh, actually, that's not bad at all. That's not bad. This commercial building over here is not bad. That's too much steel. That's not bad. Corner department store. Small store. I think these are all of those Polish shops that Mr. Robs does so nicely. Department store. No, it's just going to have to be a pretty basic one, to be honest. These ones, too much steel. So I think there's 7 tons of steel. This one, how does this look? Oh, it actually fits into this area really nicely. And if we use this area and put a little... Oh, the one thing it doesn't have, though... Hang on. Let's just double check. What's its storage capacities? It's reasonable storage capacities compared to... actually, it's not that reasonable. It's not that reasonable. If we have a look at some of the others, what does this one look like? This one will actually give us a little better. So maybe I'm going to do this one instead so that we can put a warehouse in here too. A small warehouse, it'll be fine. So I'm going to do something like this, for instance. So it kind of squares off that area there. Okay, that'll give us room for a warehouse. It'll give us room for some pathways, and it'll give us room for yes, for that. That's kind of what I had in mind. So if we do that, that gets access from this side. People can walk there, but we should also have a reasonable areas for pedestrians to be moving. So that's our department store there. I was thinking warehouse. So let's have a quick look at the warehouses that we have available for us. And we probably need to end this episode. I don't want these episodes to go on too long, but let's have a quick look at some of the warehouses that we have available. I don't want meat storage by itself. Hopefully we've got maybe a warehouse variety that includes some meat storage that's not too big. So something's fairly small that includes meat storage is not actually popping up here. So we'll have to go and have a look here. So these are the ones that includes it. That's too big, I think. These are way too big. It's just not quite on. So if I have a look at this thing back again here, how much does that actually do? So it's got a little bit of meat storage in supply in there. So I just think just a very small storage. So if I go into my mod area here, I go to storage. I'm happy that they've added this stuff. And we look at a very small, actually, this is not, oh, maybe warehouse. If we say warehouse instead, yeah, that's what we're after. A very small warehouse, 1.8 tons of steel. Wow, look at this thing, it's enormous. Yeah, they've got a lot of these things. So this one is a very small one, I think. Yeah, and that's going to give us a little bit more, and it's not going to have any meat in there. So if we do that, yeah, that looks good. That looks good. I will similarly, could we squeeze it in here? Oh yeah, we can. So I'm gonna do that. So we'll do that. So that's our storage facility over there. So there we go. So now we've got this. Let's get 2 more things, and then I'm probably going to call it the end of the episode. So the 2 other things that we need here is some schooling. So we do need kindergartens of a reasonable size. Maybe the small kind of kindergarten over here. This side might be an interesting little feature, though. Ooh, we need monuments first. Actually, let's get a monument in the middle of that before we do this. Let's grab ourselves a monument. So I've got a few monuments. This is a Lenin one. They take too much steel, though. 10 steel. 10 steel seems to be the minimum. They've got some of these ones. They take a little bit less. I want a little bit more influence, much influence. I've kind of got these kiosks as well. So let's grab 2% for 250 meters. So just, oh, that's 10 steel. That's 9 steel. This one is 10 steel, and that's better, actually. Rather than, what is this one? 5.2. Let's grab this one and see if we can squeeze this one in there. I think we can. I think it will actually squeeze in there. Oh, man, it's really tight. Yeah, we're not going to get it in there. I thought we may be able to get it in there. So 5.2 on that one. Is there anything that we have that's going to be... Well, that's a bit too much, maybe. Anyway, don't worry too much. I'm not going to worry too much about getting that absolutely perfect. How much steel did that... Well, that's 19 steel. So anyway, we'll... Oh, that seems pretty tiny now. Let's go towards the linen one then instead. The larger linen one. Yeah, that's awesome. I'm going to do that. I'm going to pop that one in there. That's good. So there's our linen statue that's going to overlook whatever it is that we've got it overlooking that side. So let's just go back and grab a few final things here. Not the alcohol. Oh, we need culture and sports and things as well. But let's start off with the schools first. So we'll grab ourselves a school that can cover for like 180 should be a pretty good number. If we do something like that school there and turn it like this, I think that fits in there pretty nicely. I'm just going to squeeze it in like so. That's going to be good. That's the school. Then we need some kindergartens. So for children, we need the kindergartens. And for the kindergartens, I find that placing 2 or multiple ones. So what's the smallest that we can get here? About this one, this tiny kindergarten. So if we maybe do 1, and I see I'm already falling into the trap of trying to do too much. So we'll do 1 kindergarten maybe on this side, and then we'll do maybe another one over here somewhere, and that should provide us a couple of options. Actually, to be honest, let's cancel this one and let's just do a different style. Let's not do all of them the same. So at least we have a little bit of variety. The idea is I'm not too fussed about the aesthetics of the gameplay, but really that's the plan is that we don't use exactly the same thing over and over again. The next smallest one will be this one. I think that's going to be pretty reasonable right there. Okay, all good. So that's that. Let's do... We're going to have to do crime and justice and universities and orphanages and all kinds of things, but certainly the needs of citizens is going to be the most important thing for us first. So let's get sports facilities. That's an indoor pool for 7 tons. I think that's a reasonable one. If we place that pretty central over here, we should be able to get most people to access that quite nicely. Let's set it back just a tad. So something like that should be reasonably accessible if we've got our paths going through here. So that's the first one. That's okay. From a culture perspective, I'm thinking trying to minimize the use of steel. What is this? This is a library. That's a house of culture. That's a small theater. Wow, that's too much steel. Let's just get at least one library in place. Next to the school seems pretty reasonable to me. We'll set it back a little bit. Do we do it over here maybe instead? No, that's a little tight. Don't fall into that trap of putting everything in exactly the same area. So let's just do that. We'll set it back just a little bit like this. It'll be quite interesting actually. We'll provide enough room there so you can actually pass by there. Try and get them fairly square. So that's our library. That should provide a little bit of culture. What we will need to provide is fairly early on, we need a radio station. And I've got this small radio station here, which I think is useful. We'll add this to the mix, probably towards the back over here. Yeah, I'm not even too fussed by us giving that an access point there. We'll do a little something like this. I think that should be fairly reasonable. We will need to build these things pretty early on as well. Alcohol and the likes, I'm not too sure that's going to be necessary straight away, but I think that should give us a reasonable piece. And then I wanted to do reasonably sized buildings, and I did bring in buildings that actually do their own heating, but none of these other buildings will be doing their own heating. Even if it does pollute. So I don't think that's quite necessary for us to do. I didn't want to put the very big residential buildings in here. I wanted to do the medium ones where we probably are going to use as little as possible steel, to be honest. Yeah, these are too small, I think. Oh, these do that. I think these do their own heating. I'm not even sure. Yeah. Environmental pollution if they do their own heating. Yeah, heat water tank, but they do have heat water tank as well. So I'm not going to do those. We could do some of these, but if just go to mediums. So I like using these brick buildings in my last playthrough for a little town, and that it might be an interesting one to use them here again. 51 workers per building. If we look at these, I don't want to. Obviously, I don't want enormous buildings here. Because this is a starter town, right? We just need to make sure we keep that in mind. So if we go with something like a new 5-story, see that we should be able to fit reasonably sized areas in here. And that's like 80 workers, 5 tons of steel though. 4-story. Yeah, so this is the thing. So it depends on the amount of workers you're gonna grab there. If we go with the stock standard ones, they're 4 tons of steel for 75. So, yeah, potentially that's better. 3 tons of steel, these prefabs. So maybe we'll do that. What does this look like? 8 tons of steel. Yeah, maybe these steel numbers are too high. So let's maybe have a look at these prefab ones. At least a few of them like that. I do like giving them a little bit of a stagger like that. And what we'll do is let's flip it around and do a similar thing this way. We'll need to bring a road through there. If we do something like that, that's going to be our very first little area here into the hospital. So what we'll do is we'll grab ourselves this little road. We'll run a road through here. I think this will work actually. Let's bring it down a little bit more. Yeah, I think that might be easier. And that looks like it'll work. This one doesn't want to. Oh, that one will work. This one will work. This one is a little close. Maybe we'll demolish that one and try it again. Get it out of the way, grab one more. And we don't have to stick to exactly the same ones. I won't be doing that for the most part, at least. So I think that's going to be about right. So there we go. So now they've got their own access and access to the hospital there, and we'll do walkways alongside. But guys, I think I'm going to leave it there. That basically gives us the starting point. We have to do a lot of stuff here. I still need to do the construction industry. We do need to bring in our utilities and power stuff. I'm probably going to do that somewhere over here. And then we'll be able to put even additional housing around the edges here and make sure that we leave some space for some other pieces. But I think this is going to be our starter town. And from here, we will start to construct larger cities, potentially somewhere closer to our oil fields or back here. I don't even know where we're going to go to. But getting our construction industry going is going to be an important one. And I think we want to try and produce steel as quickly as we can once we've got these starting things going on. I might... one thing that you do have to bear in mind is you have to deselect the get citizens. Otherwise, it'll automatically procure a range of citizens for you. So I'm just going to switch these off for the residential buildings. So we'll get the citizens that we need ourselves. And then we'll go from there and make sure. And I'm kind of tempted to bring in from the third world using dollars. So we'll save on our rubles for construction and imports from over here. But yeah, we still need to set up basic distribution to make sure that everything is serviced. There's no water, there's no electricity, there's no sewage, there's no heating. All of that still needs to be planned out. And that's what we'll do in the next episode. So that's the basic plan with our starter town. In the next episode, we'll look at planning the rest of our basic services and infrastructure, and potentially make a start on the planning for the construction, so that in probably the third episode, we can actually start building. Guys, thank you so much for watching. This is a brand new series, so I do appreciate if you would hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you enjoy workers and resources and this kind of stuff in general, and share it with whoever likes this stuff too. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.